Valentino's story. A miracle. Among the rubble. Valentino was born in one of the most hostile settings imaginable. Along with his 10 siblings, he fought daily for survival, living in subhuman conditions, completely exposed to risks, in the middle of an abandoned coal mine located in an extremely poor and marginalized neighborhood. The place was unsanitary, full of filth, toxic waste, and a complete lack of any kind of protection. There were no walls, roof, or even the slightest structure that could guarantee safety or shelter. The days were marked by constant hunger, thirst, cold, and loneliness. Fate, which was already cruel, proved even more relentless. A sudden collapse completely buried the mine. At that moment, the tragedy seemed inevitable and definitive. All of Valentino's siblings were crushed and lost their lives instantly, buried under tons of coal and rubble. By a true miracle against all odds, Valentino survived. When he was found, the scene was devastating. His small body, which weighed less than a kilo, only 900 grams, was completely covered in blood, with his fur hardened by dirt, matted and covered in open wounds. The level of infestation on his body was alarming. Fleas, ticks, and fly larvae covered practically all of his skin. The flies had laid eggs in the exposed wounds, and the larvae were already feeding on his living tissue. With each look, a distressing question arose. How could such a fragile creature withstand so much pain and still breathe? Valentino's health condition could not be more critical. Severe anemia, extreme malnutrition, constant fever, frequent convulsions, and profound hypothermia. His body was cold, his energy was almost non-existent, and his breathing, panting and weak, seemed to be fighting against time itself. Faced with the emergency, he was immediately taken to a specialized veterinary clinic. However, even the most experienced professionals were frightened by his condition. His veins, collapsed due to dehydration and fragility, were practically impossible to locate for intravenous administration. The only alternative was to perform hydration subcutaneously. The most distressing moment was recorded when his body temperature dropped to 33 degrees Celsius, a level considered practically incompatible with life. For many hours, he remained in this borderline state, between life and death. No one knew if he would have the strength to resist that silent battle fought inside his small body. But surprising everyone, Valentino demonstrated something rare, a will to live that surpassed any physical limit. After days of intensive care, therapeutic baths, special food in small quantities, constant heating and strict monitoring, he began to react. What had previously seemed impossible became real. Little by little, he began to eat, at first timidly, then with greater gusto. His gaze, previously dull and suffering, now began to shine. His breathing stabilized. The convulsions stopped. The wounds began to heal. The days turned into weeks. The puppy, who seemed doomed, began to gain weight. His fragile body, previously reduced to skin and bones, now showed signs of recovery. Every gram gained was a huge victory. More than that, Valentino revealed a sweet, affectionate, and extremely loving personality, charming the entire veterinary team and the volunteers who followed his fight. Throughout this process, he received all the vaccination coverage, nutritional supplementation, and necessary care to ensure not only his survival, but also his full recovery. And then, after 10 days of a process of overcoming that bordered on the impossible, a new page of his life began to be written. A man, touched by his story, made the decision that would change the destiny of that little warrior forever. Valentino was adopted. In the arms of his new owner, he found not only shelter, but a home. A real home, where he will never again experience cold, hunger, abandonment, or pain. Today, he lives surrounded by love, safety, and care, as he has always deserved since the first moment he came into this world. Valentino's story is not just about survival. It is a powerful lesson in resilience, overcoming, and how love and compassion can transform lives that many, unfortunately, consider disposable.